How can you find an IVF doctor you can trust? In a perfect world, all IVF doctors would be equally good. And each IVF doctor would have a high success rate and would respect their patient and listen to their patient and spend as much time as was required with the patient and be transparent and open and answerable and accountable. The sad truth is this is not a perfect world. And if you want to find out what you can do in order to find an IVF doctor whom you can trust, then please watch this video. I'm Dr. Malpani. I'm an IVF specialist. Our website is at www.drmalpani.com. And I'm not just an IVF specialist. I also think of myself as being a patient advocate, someone who cares about patients. And this is true partly because I'm a second generation doctor. Both my parents were doctors, so some of this is actually in my DNA. We, for example, run the world's largest free patient education library called HELP, or the Health Education Library for People. And we've written lots of books for doctors and patients on patient advocacy, which you can find at www.thebestmedicalcare.com. And one thing we've realized that the most important ingredient in a healthy doctor-patient relationship is that of trust. And unfortunately, this trust has just evaporated over time for multiple reasons again. A lot of medical practice has become very commercialized and corporatized because you have all these large hospitals and corporate chains who take money from investors, and they take money from investors not in order to provide a better quality of care for their patients, but in order to make more money. I wish they could do both, but sadly often there is tension in the room between making money and returning it to your investors and taking care of patients. And we all know which gets compromised first when push comes to shove. And this is a big problem today. And that's one of the reasons why most patients don't trust doctors anymore. There used to be a time when life was much easier, maybe 50 years ago when my parents were practicing, when you understood that the doctor did everything humanly possible for the sake of the patient. No one cross-questioned doctors, no one asked them, are you telling me this because it's the right thing, or are you doing this because you want to make money? No one always counter-checked whether what the doctor said was what Dr. Google said or something else. And that's the fact of the matter. And I think part of the problem is it's doctors also to blame because we've lost that trust. We've done very little to educate patients, to explain to them what a good doctor should do. And because lots of bad doctors are there in the profession, and we've conveniently turned a blind eye to these bad apples, as a result of which the entire medical profession has got a bad name. And this is why it's so important to speak up. And this is the reason why we create so much educational content for patients. Because I think that is the key ingredient. If you find a good doctor, you don't need to worry. He'll take good care of you no matter what. And if you find a bad doctor, you're in serious trouble because this doctor will spin all kinds of stories and tell you one thing before you give him the money, tell you something else, and conveniently disappear when your IVF cycle fails. So you can never find out what the truth is. And you only realize you've been cheated after the cycle is over, by which time you've already lost your money, and then you're not willing to trust any other IVF doctor because, in your opinion, all IVF doctors are cheats, which is such a tragedy. Just because there are bad IVF doctors doesn't mean that all doctors are bad. And that's why it's so important for you to do your homework and for you to do your checking and for you to find out whether you can trust this doctor or not. And it's actually very simple. You need a doctor who's transparent, someone who will share information with you, someone who will respect your intelligence, someone who will understand that you as a patient have a right to know, and you as a patient are intelligent enough to know what the doctor is doing, why the doctor is doing it. Some of this may sound very overwhelming, but really there is so much at stake that you cannot afford to ignore this. You need to take a proactive role in your treatment. You can't afford to leave everything up to God. You can't afford to leave everything up to a doctor. And the good news is it's easy to find this information. Check out our website. It's www.drmalpani.com. We've got an IVF comic book for you which you can read so you can get all this information for yourself. And if you still have questions, I'm happy to answer any question you have. I'm an IVF specialist and I answer questions for free. I believe this is partly my dharma. I also believe in karma, and I believe the more the good I can do for other people, the better for me. So maybe I'm doing this for selfish interests, but not for money. Happy to see you online. Check out www.drmalpani.com, and happy to see you in our clinic as well. We look forward to helping you to have a baby. And we look forward to helping you to find a doctor whom you can trust. Nothing will give me more pleasure than this.